Welcome, business owners. I have a great show for you today. I have the one and only, I'm so excited, Christine Campbell Rapin with me today, and she is the owner of Clear Acceleration Inc., where she helps business owners scale their business and make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money? So, Christine, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. This is going to be rock and roll. I'm super excited. And my friend said, Anita Green, rock and roll, a little bit of country. We're going to show you.
Oh, man, I love Anita Green. Everyone needs to have a little Anita Green in their life.
Story.
Yes. So, Christine, tell me, you help business owners accelerate their business. First of all, tell me, how did you get started with this? What's a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting one. I never built and imagined in my mind that I would build a global consulting business helping people find clients. But that's exactly what I have today. And I tell people candidly, I was invited into this party because I had so many invitations for glasses of wine or cups of coffee, depending on how you know me. And they're like, what the hell are you doing 1 hour a day that's leading to clients? Because I spend 60 hours a week doing this, and I'm on oxygen and life support over here. And I'm like, well, I've spent 30 years in the world of business. I've helped 400 businesses create $1 billion. It's not that complicated. And they're all like, are you kidding? And I'm like, I can solve it for you. And I can show you how to solve it. And they're like, wow. And then they would have a great conversation and they'd be like, I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. And then they would inevitably stall out and get bought back into complexity. And we'd have another ching lag. Time would pass. And I'm like, stop it. And they're like, I need you to hold my hand. And I'm like, I haven't got time for that. And they're like, seriously, I'll pay you. And I was like, that's so weird. And then I have a good friend who's in the coaching space who I had interviewed on a podcast in just a fun thing that I was doing. He's like, Christine, pay attention. People need help. You have skills. They want to pay you. And there's got to be a reason. All the lives, all the great success stories, all the stumbles off the huge things that you've jumped off of without parachutes always has to serve for a purpose. Go help. And then I was like, okay, I'll be open-minded. Kind of dragging my feet. And I bumbled my way into my first client in a podcast interview that got hijacked. I thought she was just asking me questions. And she's like, no, I think you misunderstand. I'm hiring you. I'm like, for what? And then she tells me what she thinks I was going to help her with. I'm like, well, I can do that. She's like, no, seriously, I have a credit card. How much will it cost? And I was like, oh, dear Lord. I stayed in the conversation, took down her number and thought, now I have to figure out how to get her payment paid.
Yeah.
And I was off to the races. And that's how it all started.
I love that, Christine. That's very similar to my journey as well. It was people kept asking me for help. Like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And then they were like, we need to start paying you for this, and I think often a lot of business owners, I don't know, sometimes people feel sleazy about selling until they really sit back and, like your friend told you, like, listen, pay attention. People need your help.
And people will pay you. This is the thing that you got to get your head around. Please go back, rewind, put this on repeat in your mind. When it's valued, I will get out my wallet. Mm-hmm. And people will say to you, how do I do this? And that is a really beautiful place that you don't get to through happenstance. You have to get there, if you want to be repeatably getting there and scaling, by being opportunity aware and opportunistic in how you approach your day-to-day.
Okay, Christine, how can I be more opportunistic? Like, how does someone do that?
Well, the first thing you need to get through is a really clear mindset. And this is like a principle, Christine 101. My goal today was to get off zero. So every day I was gifted with life was to get off zero. I had to have a purpose. I had to engage. I had to show up. Like, seriously, just showing up is such a battle. Show up. But the goal is to get off zero. And in the world of business, there's only 2 things that predict your revenue. So there's 2 things you should focus on. Everything else, those 10,000 tabs that are open, the 10,000 things that somebody told you to do, cut the BS. Yeah. Business growth is elegantly simple. 2 things and just to predict your revenue. First one, your business is built on strangers. Mm-hmm. Always. Okay. At some point, your business will stall and you will need to find a new stranger to talk to. So you need to recognize it's the weirdest bit of adulthood. I don't know how to make friends with strangers. Well, we got to figure that out because always you will need to get in front of strangers, and not all strangers are buyers. That's different. But the first thing is a principle of expand your horizon, which means go engage with another human being today. That's the first piece of really simple advice. Second is that money only moves hand when an offer is made. So if you want to be opportunistic, think about a commitment that every day I will make an offer. And I have a Post-it note. I keep it in my workspace on the other side of my desk. And it says, my commitment today is to make 3 offers a day. And that doesn't mean 3 offers to buy my stuff. Doesn't mean vomit my business at strangers that are not interested. But 3 invitations that I will make today to connect a dot for somebody, to introduce them to something, to show up and have my presence felt. And when I do that, guess what happens? You leave a legacy, and people then start to, if you do it through time, it's the 8th compound wonder of the world, you get these beautiful things. People reach out to you and said, I've got a speaking opportunity in October. Would you do it? And I was like, sure. And then I look at who's asking me, someone I know. She's actually the president of the organization who wants to hire the speakers. I'm like, oh. She's like, you have to do the application. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it comes from being opportunistic, which is I'm constantly planting the seed that I must meet people and I must create an intentional movement. My job is to have an ask. And that's how business grows.
Oh my gosh. And Christine, I know like it sounds so simple, but oftentimes, especially in a world where we are disconnected in a lot of ways, even where we have so many opportunities to connect, I think a lot of people, sometimes they just feel like they want to hide behind the screen. Sure. But I love this message of go meet the strangers.
Yeah. And you can build it on the screen. Like, here's the thing. Can I be direct?
Yes, please do.
Okay, guys. If you don't want to make friends with strangers and you don't want to make offers, quit the field of business. And I mean that just kindly and directly with no gray area, because you can't get to where you want to go without these things. I have $1 billion of sales behind me. Those are the 2 things that matter. Just do. Yeah. So you have to get your head around, it sucks. I'm scared. I'll be awful at it. Yes, yes, yes. And the only way you'll do it is if you get off 0 and get better. Yes. And so if you are sitting here thinking, I don't want to go make a stranger friend, you will never have a business ever.
Well,
and I need you to hear that. So it's like, okay, that feels awful, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's worth it on the other side. And here's the thing I tell everybody that I know. I mean, when they come into my ecosystem, I'm like, I'm a fuel source. You don't know how to do something. I know how to do it. I'm a fuel source. My network's a fuel source. My $1 billion of expertise is a fuel source, but you're the spark. There's no point adding fuel on something that's not lit, just as wet. So I'm like, you're the spark. You've decided to go be a business owner. You've decided your message matters. Get off your damn butt.
Yes.
And suck at it until you suck a little less, because that is the only way. The shortcut is the work. And so you have to get your head around, I can choose to be an introvert and do it behind a screen. I can choose to do it 1-to-1 versus 1-to-many. Those are all power plays that you get to define. Do business in a way that feels like oxygen, or you won't sustain your own spark.
Yeah.
And that's the tell. If it doesn't feel like oxygen, you're not building your business. Quit the field or adjust. But it has to be that black and white, because at the end of the day, you can choose how to play the game, but those 2 things are non-negotiable.
Yeah. And you just saying you are, let's be honest, you're going to do it ugly at first, but you have to get over that fear, because what separates
you never get over the fear, but you just don't let the fear win. Like I'm an introvert. People always find that shocking. I'm like, I have learned in my mental game and in my physical wardrobe to show up suited and booted to deliver what I needed to deliver. And then I might go hide and not talk to anybody for 7 hours. But that is what people don't know behind the screen. So they're like, oh, it's easy for you. I'm like, it isn't easy for me. I'm 30 years in the making.
Yep.
I was terrified as a kid. I would hide behind my mother's legs. I'm like, I was always worried I'd have no friends at recess because I moved a lot as a kid. I've lived in 5 countries, 30 cities, and some more than once. And I always had to learn to make friends with strangers. It is the hardest skill we learn. But there's 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody's going to really jive with who you are.
Yeah.
And you're not served if you stay at 0.
You're not.
So I say, And I have a funny life story. So my mother makes amazing smoked salmon, and she's at an age now. She's like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I don't enjoy filleting the fish. It's really hard on my hands, and we're not doing it anymore. I'm like, no. Like, it's like the crack candy smoked salmon is not gonna not be in my life the rest of it. So I'm gonna have to learn this. And so last summer I went out, and I've watched her, but I've never held the knife.
Yeah.
And she's like giggling on the phone down the hall, laughing with her friends, like, what a disaster I am. And she's like, do you want me to do this for you? Like, it's painful. And I'm like, I don't care how many fish I have to buy. I am not going to get better if the knife's not in my hand.
Yep.
So we're going to pick around bones for the first couple of years that I learned to do this. But I'm determined to learn to do this because it matters to always have that memory.
Yeah.
And so in the world of business, you're the spark, which is why you have to be clear that people say start with why. I've met Simon Sinek. I've contracted him to be a speaker in an event I was part of. But here's the thing. It's not enough just to have the why. You have to have the fuel that gets off zero, which means I'm going to do it ugly. And people actually want to see your progress. They want to see the bad hairdo, the wrong fashion, the messy middle. I'm like, come on, I would go back to my first podcast episode. I'm like a hot mess because I didn't know what I was going to do yet. But I got to episode 10, got to episode 155, and I don't have any plan to stop it because it's momentum, it's invitations, it's now leverage, it's lots of things. But I just chose to get off zero.
Yeah.
And so my real business simple advice is just this daily mantra. And that doesn't mean that there's not days that's sucky and hard and awful. I always have to just check in with myself and say, this is a choice you're making. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
So suck it up, buttercup. And at the same time, quit the field, regroup, have some chocolate, come back, try again.
Yeah. Well, and that goes, not too long ago, I pivoted my business. So my audience watching, they know that this change that I've made. And I remember, Christine, oh my gosh, my very first sales call as a speaking coach was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was ugly. And it would have been real easy for me right then to just quit and be like, I can't do that. That was hard. But I kept going and I kept getting better and better and better. And what was beautiful, Christine, is it was 2 weeks ago, I was working with a client and she was like, Alyssa, not only are you helping me speak on stage, you're helping me sell. And I was like, I've gotten to it, like you just get it in your muscle to where you go through the ugly and get through the ugly.
Lived experience is the only thing that matters. And truthfully, it's the only thing you'll be hired for. So here's the other piece of this. If you're using speaking as a fuel to find strangers, to get them to self-select, you still have to be the one that makes an offer. Yeah. So you're still in an exchange, but here's the cool thing. People only hire you for your opinion and your expertise. Yeah. Because that's the one competitive advantage you absolutely have. And so, you had asked me before we started, like, how do you stay relevant? I'm like, here's the thing that I find fascinating. I mean, I'm known for helping people ignite a client growth engine, predictable client growth, certainty of where your paycheck's going to come from, and building an engine you can step away from your business and the business doesn't implode. Like, that's what I'm known for because I want that. So I help people get what I want, and they are like, I want that too. Great, let's build it together. But here's the kicker. If you are in a place where you don't know what you stand for, you can't share your own personal story, and you're relying on someone else to define your voice. Hello, that's everybody relying ChatGPT, Claude, and anything else to tell you who you are and what you think. You'll be in trouble. Because while I deliver client growth, the biggest thing that people don't know they're hiring me for until they've been with me a while is I'm actually helping you know how to critically think. I'm helping you step into your opinion. I'm helping you own it. And I said, this will be the key to longevity. Your opinion will evolve. You're human. You'll evolve with it. But there's a million ways to get to the end. And I know that because I've done a lot of different permutations in business worlds. And you've done pivots. We've done pivots and picked ourselves off the floor. But if you choose me today, you're choosing my opinion. Yeah. You may not 100% be in alignment. That's fine. But you will respect it or you're never going to be a client. And my expertise and the lens in which I see the world is a tuning fork in the play yard. When I said, do you want to be a friend of mine? And I got to trust that great human beings are going to make that choice well. My job is to show up. So it is actually that simple. And we're in a great community. You and I, Barb, and sometimes I need the reminder, just do the work. I was like, right.
Just do the work. Well, the second thing, and you've already kind of touched on a little bit, but is just making that offer, like giving the ask.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes our messages get really muddy and people aren't really clear what we're asking them to do.
We're not clear what we're asking.
Exactly. So what would you say to one of your clients who is getting a little muddy in their ask? How would you help them clarify it?
Well, there's a couple pieces. So our business is called Clear Acceleration because if you get clear, you'll move. Here's the kicker about clarity. Everyone wants it. Clarity doesn't come at 2:00 at Starbucks with your favorite notebook and you've got your favorite drink on the counter. It doesn't happen that way.
Oh, man.
It refines that way, but it doesn't happen that way organically. What's important is you do the messy middle. And a lot of people think I'll figure out the messaging and then I'll move. Wrong order. And that's what most businesses is. The struggle you're in is not because you lack knowledge. Generally speaking, is you have things in the wrong sequence. And you need expertise, like the business that I built with other people comes in as the expert person and says, like, just get this out of sequence. Because you're trying to get clear and write messaging when you've never had a conversation about sales. Sales will come later. No, sales comes first. The engagement comes first. Clarity comes from, what do you think you're buying? Am I okay with that? Why do you think you want to hire me? Oh yeah, I'm okay with that. Or no, I'm not. And it is all from the sales and backwards, which means you're going to have to recognize sales isn't a someday activity. It's the most important activity you have every day. And you're always selling. And I said, it's not about buy my stuff. It's not about always money moving hands. It's about, can I get you to move? Can I influence you? And that's not manipulation. It's not coercion. It's certainty about your opinion and your expertise and where it's valued. And so I think a lot of time we have this out of sequence. And this was a colossal light bulb in a conversation I had just 3 days ago in one of the group programs I run. And these are people who've been in business a long time. So they have had sales, right? They're not brand new, imagining what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And somebody puts up their hand and said, I need a bit of a definition between what's a lead and what's not a lead. Because in my world, we spend a ton of time figuring out what's a buyer. Because I said, go make friends with strangers. That's a good start, but not every stranger will be a client because not everybody's a buyer. So being able to actually learn to know what a buyer is the fundamental thing that opens the business door. And most people never get there. And that's why you constantly struggle. It's why the roller coaster exists in the first place. If you can solve the buyer, you can spot the pattern, you're in the right sequence. This is like an engine that fires. You're opportunistic. You're creating opportunity and you're moving all the time because an object in motion stays in motion easily. And everyone's like, okay, I got to put my hand. I don't think I know what a lead is. So let's talk about that. There's 4 steps. There's a contact. It's a name, phone number, a person you can see. Second thing is you have to start asking them by saying what your opinion is and what you do they move? You make an offer. You invite them to move. You got to help people move 7 to 12 times before they're visible. So you got to have a plan to do that. But so then they're moving. So the moment they move, they become a lead because you've created a response. That response goes into very 2 camps. I want to keep moving because I'm in the right room, or hell no, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want, a definitive split. And sometimes they have to take a few steps before they really make that decision. But hello, we're now looking for more invitations, more decision-making, because guess what? A buyer is a decision maker. So we're working now spotting a pattern. And the moment that you keep inviting, you keep moving, you keep going with offers, then they show up and say, tell me what it's like to work with you. And you're like, what do you think we're here for? If you want to know what I do, tell me what you want. And everyone just wants to, well, I'll tell you how to get there. I'm like, wait. How is important, but mostly irrelevant. I just want to know there is a how.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, if you told me it was 12 steps long and 7 years in the making and concluded 2 unicorns and a balloon, I'd be like, later.
Yeah.
Someday I'll get around to that. And that's why businesses stall. But it's like, how is important, but it's irrelevant where you're out of sequence. I want to know what you want. This stranger, what do you want?
You
And
got
if
to ask
I
it.
get
Yeah.
clear on this signpost, that's a decision-making moment. Sometimes I think about it, it's kind of crass, but I'm like, what's the landmine they're standing on? Because they're going to have to get off that landmine. In my case, business owners have to I have to get paid. I'm like, well, you're not getting paid now. So staying where you are or hiring me to show you how to do that, which is a better response?
Yeah.
I'm inviting. You can stand on that grenade for a long time, but eventually you'll either get off and quit the field or you'll have to investigate support. But we get clear with what they want first. We then say there is a how, it's my opinion, and this is the framework I see the world through.
Mm-hmm.
That will be reflective to people who go, okay, I'm kind of interested. So again, offer, response, they keep moving. You say, well, if I'm going to give you a recommendation, will you receive it? Yeah, I'll receive it. Okay, great. So you're going to receive the invitation. Tell me why you like that. And if you like it enough, why don't you do it? Well, I want to know how much it costs. So would you like me to make you an offer? So I'm really clear. Someone's like, yes, I'm ready for an offer. I said, if I gave you one, I want a decision. Oh, I'm not here to say what decision you make, but I am here to tell you my job entirely is to get you to a decision-making moment.
Yeah.
And we're out of sequence. Because then I said, once you go, I know what you want. I know how to get there. Your big question is, well, who am I to want it? Who has it? Who could help me? We add up, we're a must hire here. And then they go, okay, now what? Why are you waiting? Why do you want to go forward? And why is the ignition? But I think the big challenge for people is that they think clarity will come on Tuesday in a red notebook at Starbucks. It doesn't. It comes from sales conversations that you get clearer on your messaging, you pick your decision-making moment, and you stack the right sequence.
Yeah.
And then you get up every day saying, I will get off zero.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Oh, I
own
love
something today. And that's how simple business is. It's never going to be effortless, but do not cloud your judgment. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
And my question still is, why do you want this? Because to you, you have to be the spark. And it has to be meaningful to you. Because it has to be enough that I'm going to go, I will not love this, but it's necessary to be on the other side. And if you can't model that and how you show up as your business, why on earth do you think someone's going to pay you? Because your client's in the same moment. I want what's on the other side. It's inconvenient. It's going to suck. I don't want to do it. And you didn't do it, so why would I do it? And come on, that's exactly why you stay broke.
Yes, that's so true. And it really does go back to, that ask yourself that question. Like, why would someone hire me if I'm not doing it? And I think that could be a big open, and why am I not doing it?
Yeah, I have a great, good client of mine who's like, I spent a ton of money with people before I got to you. She's like, I've had more progress working with you than I have anywhere else. And so I am becoming a business owner. That's the shift. And it's fun to watch her because she's like, I'm not scared of the numbers. I'm like, the numbers are not there shaming you. They're not there judging you. The number's just a number. What do your numbers tell you? Have you made any strangers lately? No. Have you made any offers lately? No. Well, guess what? You have no revenue. We can shift that. And last week, she was like, I feel like I'm all around money. Like, I got 7 offers that are out. I've got all these things going on in my life, but I'm stuck. And I'm like, you're stuck because you're not paying your bills. You won't spend because you're waiting to receive. I said, how about you receive first, go spend some money.
Yeah.
Get honest in your integrity and be open to receiving. She's like, huh, all right, that's uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, well, let me know how it goes. And she sends me a note. She's like, so I sold the car, received some money, paid that bill, and guess what? 2 of those green lights came through. I'm like, funny that. It's all about the sequence.
Yeah.
And it's a pattern. Business the world over is a pattern. And so you always get to choose, do I want to do this? Am I willing to see the other side? And is it worth it? Because there's only 3 reasons you don't know the business you want. Number 1, you don't know how. Well, that's a knowledge problem. It's a lazy excuse. Because between people and the technology, you could solve that in a day. So if you stay holding that cross, I'm going to blow you up and say, I see you. You don't want this. Second thing, you're like, well, it's working, but it's not working very well. Then, you can't see your own ears. Doesn't mean they're not there. So if you're trying to find the lever to pull in your business and you can't see it, you're smart, capable. If you could, you would. But you haven't, so you need somebody to spot you.
Yeah.
That means you need a peer who is focused on sitting on the same side of the table as you to ask questions, to do the sales digging of the onion so you're clearer, and then you go, now what? It's time to move. And thirdly, if you simply are waiting for it to be convenient, you're waiting to, I don't ever want to make friends with strangers, I don't ever want to go make an offer, then you don't want it.
Yeah.
Enough. And nobody's there to drag you. And here's the cool thing. You can choose your speed. Some seasons, Mach 10, hair on fire, we're doing something amazing and we're all in momentum. And then life will hard life you. It's a decision to stay at zero. And some days we have to stay at zero for other survival reasons. But staying there long term is a choice. So my commitment to myself, and I'm a faith-based individual. I'm like, if I was granted breath, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Lick your wounds, do what you need to do, but really commit to getting off zero and equip yourself to light the fire, add the fuel, and go for it. Because what was it worth otherwise? And your why is not somebody outside you. Now I'm going to rant. Your why is not someone outside you. It's not to say that other people are influenced and benefiting from the bigger story. But the hardest course correction I ever got in my business journey was when my husband had said to me, he'd overheard a conversation where I was talking about what I wanted to create and why I was driven to create it. And he's like, I'm calling BS. 95% of that vision is not what you say it is. It's because you feel like oxygen. You're contributing. Your life, your experience, your knives, your glory had purpose. It's fuel from the inside. Don't mistake for a second it's anything else. And the true movement happens when you made your pivot because you wanted to.
Yep.
Guys, you're
100%.
allowed to want something. And you will not move if you don't declare it's because I want it.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it for you.
No. And I think a lot of people are hesitant to say that out loud.
100%.
And
that's why
we got to break through that.
I say that's my bestie all the time. We get into hot debates about this at least every year. I don't know what I want. I'm like, funnily enough, how did you get so freaking successful if you didn't know what you wanted?
Yeah.
I did know what I wanted. So you remember when you wanted it and you said it out loud and it cost you some friendships? That's a decision. Do you stay where you are, or do you go with what you want to do and trust that there'll be new people that surround you? You wouldn't be where you are if you didn't say I wanted it. If you didn't put your hat in the ring, you didn't show up. And so I say to people all the time, because I'm a mentor, I'm a strategic advisor. I said, I have an opinion. You hired me for it. You ask it, you will get it. The number one thing you come to me is because you've got a whisper, you're ready to roar. And you want to know how. And you need somebody who will believe in you. And so a job that I carry with great gratitude is I hold the wobble. I hold the vision when you're not capable of that yet. Because the wobble is normal. I mean, created a lot of different things, some really amazing, some really disasters, but the wobble is normal. Mm-hmm. And you get to decide, does the wobble control me or do I control the wobble?
Yeah.
You have to whisper. You have to choose you. You have to equip yourself. And you do get to enjoy it. And you do get to say, I'm proud of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's making that decision to get off zero.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Every single day. And I built my first business like before, I never imagined I said building this global consulting business. I built my first business as a side hustle working 1 hour a day. And it was a non-negotiable. And it's a funny story. And I know everyone's starting, in different places. So don't think Odell didn't start at zero. January 1, we all start at zero. And the first day of every month, we all start at the same place. Do not ever mistake that. And I was lost in my life at the time. There was a lot of good things going on, but I was lost in my own personal sense of self. And I had an opportunity that came my way from a really, really unexpected place. And it wasn't in a package I recognized. And I could hear myself all the reasons I was going to say no. And I was like, wow, I'm afraid to bet on myself. Holy crap. Christine, you get to choose. I was brushing my teeth at the time, going, oh my God. It's not a money decision, because truthfully, I've spent money on other things. And, whether that's the $2,000 holiday you can't afford, or for me, a red Kate Spade handbag that I walked by, I need to have that, or it was whatever. I spent more money last night on dinner than I, was going to bet on my own business to get started. It was absurd. Money's a renewable resource. It was absurd to think money was the issue. And I was like, well, it's a time issue. I'm like, let's be clear. Time was an issue. But I said, we all get to choose how we spend our time. And I've got to prioritize choosing some time for me. So I sent a message in a nanosecond I'm in on an opportunity that I didn't get out of bed to do. So I was opportunity searching and opportunistic. And I came down to the kitchen. My then fiance was making coffee. And I said, oh, by the way, babe, I've just started a business. He's like, I'm sorry. What? I just left you brushing your teeth. I don't understand. And he's like, wait, back up. Like, we're about to be married. And I'm like, yeah, this is not news. Like, I know 3 months from now, we're all going to get together to throw that big party. And he's like, married people talk about this. I'm like, oh, is there a rule book or instructions? Because I'd never been married. I'm like, if there is, you know me, I will read it end to end. Please send me a copy, stat. And he's like, okay. Married couples talk about big life decisions in advance. And I'm like, it never occurred to me to ask you. And I didn't mean it disrespectfully at all, but I said, it just didn't occur to me. And so I'm sorry if I've offended you. I made a major life decision without consulting you. And he's like, okay, well, it sounds like it's a decision made. I'm like, this is just that. It's a decision made. He's like, well, what does it mean for us? And I said, I'm going to commit 1 hour a day. You guys can go watch 2 episodes of Friends and come find me. But for the next 1 hour a day, I'm going to do me. And I'm going to start something, and I'm going to figure out what it leads to. Because it was a stepping stone. And I could see enough of that to know it was just the place to get off zero. That business led to the consulting business I have now.
Yeah.
So I got invitations to coffee. What the hell are you doing 1 hour a day that I'm spending 60 hours a week? And I was like, I don't understand this. But sometimes that 5 minutes in between a meeting was all I could do, but it all stacked to 60 minutes. And I never left a day where I didn't do at least 60 minutes for me, because I wanted this.
Yeah.
And now, it was like, it's created this. I'm like, 1 minute at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I can choose my speed. That. And at some point I had to make a decision that I needed more time, and I had to go find a way to buy it for myself, which meant in that case, leaving a corporate job and doing other things. But it was really clear that I have to know where my true north is. So if you want to tell a message and create commerce out of it, you have to get clear what's non-negotiable for you. Business is simple. We've just given you a masterclass on how to win in it. But it always starts with you deciding to get off zero.
Yeah. And that's, Christine, that leads me to my next question. It's this decision-making idea. There are, when I speak to leads or other people out in the field, people have a really hard time making decisions. And
they don't. You're not clear that you're telling them one needs to be made.
Okay. So tell me more.
There's 2 sides to that coin. Unpack that. There's 2 sides to that same coin. The world will not make a decision if you let them not make a decision.
Okay.
Your number one job is if you're in sales, you're leading a conversation, is to get a decision. And that's why I think the biggest legacy of my clients, I said, I should come with a warning. Now it's sort of a running joke. I should come with a warning, because I said, I'm going to be in your brain forever. Yes. Sorry. And you're welcome. Because my job, and this is how I see it, this is my job as I see it, is to help you learn to critically think to navigate any problem in the business world. Using my expertise, using my network, and using my own gumption to get off zero. And so I know the job that I'm leaving as a legacy is your ability to trust yourself to make a decision. So I role model that to my clients role model it to them. And so everyone is going to benefit, because the world right now, if you let it, won't make a decision.
Yeah.
But by very nature, every living moment you're deciding. We just don't like the label of it anymore. You decided to open your eyes. You decided to take your next breath. You decided to feed yourself toast and peanut butter for breakfast. You decided to spend time on your phone. You're innately every second of the day deciding. So when you say people don't want to make decisions, I'm like, no, you just don't like talking about the word, which is now is the time to make a decision. Which is why when I think about the offer, it is so clear. Nobody is unclear. They're in a decision with me.
Do you just go out and say, now is the time to make a decision before
I
you
do before I give the number, and then I stay there. So my process in a sales call, and I've got a great podcast episode around that, so we can definitely share that resource if you like. But it's what do you want? And we talk about that. We explore that really thoroughly. I said, I have to get it. I have to see what you want. And just like, okay, well, if I know how to get that, would you like me to give you some recommendations? And if you get permission, people are like, yeah, I'd like to know what you think. Well, why do you want to know what I think? Well, because you've been there before, you've got expertise. Okay, great. So you see me as somebody who is going to give you a better perspective than the one you hold now, or round out your perspective, bring a new perspective. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what I think. And they're like, oh, nobody ever tells us what I think. I said, people often say it's a love ouchie from me. I said, I'm on the same side of the table. It's not meant to be mean. It is never delivered mean.
Yeah.
It's truth as I see it that you asked me to share. And then I say, well, what do you want to do with that? What would be gained by taking that recommendation? What would not be gained if you didn't? It's a decision tree in its very nature. What other options have you got? Why are you stalled? What's the better upside, and what are you voting for? The gain or the loss? And we're guiding people into this conversation, and I'm like, so it sounds like on a logical perspective that the gain is better than the loss. This is a smarter strategy than the current one, and this is the easiest yes decision you could make. Is that fair? Great. So are you ready for me to make you an offer? Because if I make you an offer, you'll need to make a decision. And then it is about making the decision right. That's what I would say. Because I'm not here, and I have to remember to always let my ego off the table. It's hard. Humanly, It's hard. But I'm like, my job is to help you make a decision and make that decision right for you. Because if you choose to decide to go forward with whatever I've proposed, then my job is to make sure that you think that's a really solid investment, not just the moment it happens, but the moment after it happens and the moment in the coming months and years that it might linger. If you make a decision not to go forward, I'm like, I also know that you've chosen not to solve that. And I'm here not to judge you on it, but to support you in that delay. Because at some point, that person is still a buyer and still a potential buyer for you.
Yeah.
So I am always mindful that I will reach out to people in the past and say, does that problem still exist? Do you want to review? I've got some new ideas, or there's some new things that are working right now. Would you like to re-engage? And yesterday, I was so proud of somebody. I'm running through them in a lead sprint. She's become a new client, but she was in a lead sprint with me that led to her expanding the work she wants to do with me. And I asked her to go back, not her, but the group as a general whole, go back to somebody you made an offer to that the decision either wasn't made, which means by default it's a no, and go back and say, what was missed? What could you add? And have they solved the problem? And if you can, reopen the door. And she's like, well, that was the most uncomfortable task of the 30 days so far. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised that's one. I'm like, she's like, but guess what? It was awful. And I made the call and I have a new client.
Because she took the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she learned a whole bunch about herself, this person, and the trust build to make the decision. And so I think we let people off the hook saying they're not making decisions. I'm like, actually, they're always making a decision.
Oh my gosh.
And our job is to coach the decision. And I keep a Post-it note on my workspace. And that's where I said, like, I'm not here to sit in the glory or the judgment. It's like, I have to be in integrity with make the decision right, whatever that is. And so when I've made big investments, I'm like, I have to make that decision right. And that was when I first started my own journey to get where I am now, and I made my first big investment. The biggest challenge, it wasn't the money, because I would have spent that money on my kids to go to school. I spent money on my own degrees to get the schooling. and all of those things. I said, but now I had to follow through with my commitment on myself because I wanted it.
Yep.
And that was the hardest thing to reconcile. So I'm like, okay, my husband's like, well, what advice would you give somebody if they were in front of you? I said, bet on yourself. He's like, well, that's good advice. You should do that. I'm going to leave you to think about that because I don't know why you're overthinking it. Make a decision and then make it right, which is like, okay, clear the calendar, get to the event, go to the classes, do the work, learn from the investment.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Don't complicate it.
Don't complicate it. Oh my gosh, Christine, I could talk to you forever. Like this is gold. This is gold. Oh my gosh, Christine. Yes. And I just, it's those two things to grow your business. And just even thinking of my own self, I'm the one who's getting in the way. Like it's my own thing. I'm making the decision not to get off zero.
Yeah.
And
what a great awareness of it. And I know we often get caught in the future planning and not in the day-to-day. And I mean, all of us need the course correction. I'm no exception. I was back a month ago in my business, which was, in very good health, but I was suddenly in a spin about it wasn't, and it was not factual. It was just totally my own weird side lens that I was looking at it. And I heard the thing, someone said to me, do the work, be opportunistic, go create the opportunities. And then we popped a lot of clients all in a row. And I was like, oh, so that's how it's done. Christine.
I have to listen to what I'm teaching.
I know.
Others.
Go listen to your own podcast. Go listen to your own conversations. And it is that is exactly why. Like, we are in our own way. That is the thing I say clearest, and it's always the reason I make investments in myself. It's not that I can't do that. It's that I'm choosing not to. It's a decision I'm making. So I have to put more skin in the game. And it's where we started our conversation, which is when people kept saying, I will pay you for this. And I was like, what the hell do you think you're paying me for? I was judging my value. They're saying I've got cash. And I had to be, okay, I'm ready to receive it. Yeah. And then I'm ready to move the number north. And when people say to me, I'm thinking about the ROI of hiring you. And I'm like, how many clients does it take? And we do the math.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how long would it take you to find that client on your own? And how long do you think it would take to find it with me? Both options, totally viable. Which one do you decide to choose to do? It's so important that we just go back to that basics and recognize if we're in our own way, the answer to get out of our own way is to put us in a space where others are moving, because our decision to stall isn't serving.
Yes. Amen to that. Like, that needs to be on a pillow, on a billboard. Yes. And investing in yourself is so important. That's going to get you to your goals faster.
Yeah. If you're prepared to recognize this, lived experience is the only thing that matters. Mm-hmm. So choose your speed, commit to getting off zero, and get really clear on why you want it. Because if you have clarity on what you want, it is so easy to meet strangers and to have an ask. That ask could be something that is inviting them. And it also can be you saying, I'm looking for this opportunity. Because we do a lot of that in our 30-day lead sprint. And they're like, this is weird. I've never asked somebody I know who loves what I do to endorse me. I'm like, well, that's absurd. Go do that. That's today's task. And it's like, hey, I want to go speak on somebody's stages. I'm like, then go make 5 phone calls to people who are like, I see you do this. Could you make some intros? Sure. But you have to have the ask. So that's why I keep that Post-it note on my desk today. I get out of bed to make 3 offers. And to me, offer equals ask. And my clients who all win is like, I'm really consistent with the ask. Because here's the kicker, why that's so important. You control when you ask. You don't control when the decision's made. But if I have enough asks in the system, I don't ever have any big vacuums of nothingness.
Yeah. And I'm going to steal some of your, if you're okay with this, Christine, I'm going to steal some of your sticky notes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put those on mine too. Like that. Yes. And just make the ask.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this, Christine. Okay. I know we're out of time, but everyone needs to follow you. Everyone needs to go listen to your podcast. And I do know that you have a free offer today. You have an offer. tell our audience, what is this free gift that you have for us today?
So everyone's like sitting in their mind thinking one of two things. I'm still back with, oh my God, I got to make friends with strangers. And two, that's probably where you're going to stall first, because without strangers, the offer never follows. Just so we're clear, this is about sequencing again. So I have a resource. It's called 25 Ways to Find an Audience of Buyers. And there are 25 ways that are working right now to go find strangers to talk to. Here's my big tip. Pay attention. Stop what you're doing. Pay attention. I don't want you doing 25 things. I'm saying pick your lane. If you think that you want to do it in one way, pick that lane and go all in and get messy and learn how to do it well. But there's 25 options. You'll find one that fits you.
Yeah.
And then say, that's how I'm going to grow my business. That's how I'm going to go find my next speaking opportunity. That's how I'm going to use the stage to find clients. And I'm going to go all in on that. And you do one thing until you're making it less $250,000 of revenue. And then you add a second. Because you're choosing complexity by choosing all the spaghetti on the thing. You know, if you've heard about a marketing tactic, it works. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you if you're trying to do something new all the time. Pick one. Build revenue. Make the asks. Get good. Master the skill. But there's 25 ways that I know right now that work. So get the document. We'll also talk about what's a buyer in it, because that's an important piece of this puzzle. And then just keep that really front and center and saying, that's how I'm going to build this. Because if you're not sure how to build it, I will tell you all 25 of those will create you $1 million business. And I know because I've created it or I have clients that have.
Yeah. Oh, I'm downloading it today.
I love it. Download it. Use it. Win with it. Because your client is out there looking today and your job is to be found.
And what's the name of your podcast, Christine, so our audience knows?
Yeah, you can find it. So it's easy. You can certainly find it by my name, but it's called Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell Rapin. And our goal is we want to amplify how many strangers we get in front of. We want to move them. And let's just remember, guys, marketing is about one thing only. It moves a contact to a lead.
Yeah.
So somebody says, I've got something. I'm going to follow your invites. I want you to make me another ask. And we're going to show you how to do that every week.
Yeah. Where can everyone follow you?
Easy. Pay attention. This is also simple. ChristineCampbellRapin.com. You can find me under my name everywhere.
Okay. Excellent. And so all of this is going to be in the show notes. Your free offer, your gifts in there, everything's in there. Business owners, speakers, people looking to scale, follow Christine, because her expertise is gold. And just like you said, that expertise is what really matters.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself with those people.
100%. Get in the right room.
Yeah.
And if you're in the wrong room, look at your decision and choose.
Oh, Christine. Well, I am certainly grateful that I got in the right room to meet you. So thank you so much for being here and sharing just your wealth of knowledge with the audience today.
You are so welcome. It's been super fun.
Yes. Okay. So everyone, until next time, we will see you later, and get out on stage, get in front of people, and go take the opportunity. Be opportunistic.
Yes.
And meet those people.
Love it.